Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to another show of In Conversation with Bright Minds. And today we have with us Gaurav Gupta. Now, Gaurav is an excellent and a very intelligent student who is currently pursuing his master's from ISI. And he is here to guide you today on how to go ahead and approach the ISI exam. So, welcome to the show, Gaurav.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for inviting me.
So, Gaurav, as far as I know, you had got rank 2 at ISI.
Yes, ma'am. In 2022 entrance.
Absolutely. So, how has been the journey, Gaurav, at ISI? How has been these 2 years at ISI?
Yeah, these 2 years was a roller coaster ride of ups and downs. It was a nice experience, like studying at ISI. So when I joined ISI, I did my graduation from Delhi University. So just there was a huge gap in the level of what the professors are teaching at ISI. So we got to talk from various professors, various famous professors from their field, like actually the best ones, like Professor Arunavasin and Professor Trideep Ray and so on. So the starting days, like I was a bit worried, like what will happen in first semester, but it was smooth, and now I'm in my fourth semester, so it was a wonderful journey, and the hostel life is very good at ISI, so yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, got it. So, Gaurav, when it comes to ISI, the first thing that I always ask people is, whether you should be choosing ISI Delhi or ISI Kolkata, and what should be the reason for choosing one of those?
Yeah, for if you are going for placements, then ISI Kolkata has a slight edge over ISI Delhi. The
Okay.
reason being is that many other courses are also taught in
Hmm.
ISI Kolkata, while in Delhi there are only two courses, MSET and MSQE.
Okay.
So and what happens is like MSET have their first year in ISI Delhi, and then they go to ISI Kolkata for it. So for the placement, there are only 20 to 30 people sitting, and the companies usually prefer ISI Kolkata over Delhi because they are getting a huge batch of various courses. But there is only a slight difference. And coming to PhD, if you wanna do PhD, then ISI Delhi is the best place in the country if you're
Okay.
planning to pursue PhD in economics. So if your aim is PhD, then go to ISI Delhi for sure. And if you are going for placements, then ISI Kolkata is slightly better than ISI Delhi.
Got it. So, how about professors? Like, does it happen that the same professor also teach you some of the subjects across the two campus, or the professors are absolutely different?
No, professors are absolutely different.
Okay, okay. And any guest lectures that take place at ISI?
Yeah, many guest lectures take place at ISI in every week, like one or two
Oh,
lectures in
okay,
every week. Yeah.
got it. And so how is the culture there with guests? So I remember at BSc we used to literally have a lot of working papers being discussed, and a lot of PhD
Uh,
students would also come and they would take these papers. And we used to have tutes also, a lot of tutorials post the classes. And I remember sitting in the campus till 7 or 8 p.m. till the time they used to literally tell us कि अब library बंद कर रहे हैं and you need to get out of the library. We would just keep sitting in the library. So how is it at ISI then?
the library problem is same as
Okay.
DSC, because they close it by 8 p.m. So but the classrooms are open for studying. Two of the classrooms are open for 24 hours, and
Okay.
we request at the time of exams to open the other classrooms also for studying. So studying place is not much worry at ISI Delhi. And coming to the guest lectures, they happen frequently,
Hmm.
and people come and discuss the papers and present the papers. There are reading groups also, like the macro reading group, micro reading group, where the various professors
Okay.
and various PhD scholars from different universities come and present there. And coming to tutes, we do have tutorials, and usually the PhD students who are pursuing PhD from ISI,
Hmm.
take those sessions.
Got it. So the next thing is how difficult it is for a student to cope up at ISI, especially if they don't have a very strong hold at maths, or if maybe they are from a BA program background and have not done economic honors from Delhi University?
Like this is a collective opinion of my batch that like when the first semester started, like it was a quite jump from what we were studying, because earlier we did the concept that were application oriented, like we
Hmm.
had to solve the questions, but now the focus shifted from the proving things, like what we have done so far we have to prove those things. Okay, so some people had difficulty in that, but this happens only in first semester, and people digest those things, and like the other three semesters are very smooth.
Okay. Okay. So even if a student has not done economic honors from, say,
Yeah,
DU or has BA program, would be able to manage at
yeah,
ISI.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Like, there are
Okay.
people from English honors also. Like
Oh,
one of my batchmates is from English honors, so he's managing well at ISM.
okay. Good. Okay. So now, so Gaurav, if you could guide the students on how they should be aiming the last 1.5 months to prepare the best for ISI. They have already given IIT JAM paper and they've already given GATE. So it's not that they are at the start, but still, how they should be focusing in the next 1.5 months to give the best at ISI.
Yeah, since only like 40 to 45 days are left, so I will discuss my strategy. So at this point of time, I was mainly focusing on past years and revising the concepts. So while doing the past year, what strategy I followed was I always do the past year for learning things, not to test myself.
Okay.
Because if I am doing the past year for testing myself, if I am getting a low score, that will shake my confidence. So I did the past year for learning something. I considered it as a pool of concepts, and I attempted a question. If I am not getting the solution, then I never saw a solution from any other site or like the solution available. I just brushed up that concept, and I delved deeper in the information that I was lacking, and then I revisited that question again, and that happened, and eventually it happened that I was able to solve like almost all the questions. So that was a strategy that I followed, and I was very specific in the kind of content that I was consuming. So, like for example, solo model. So for solo model, I followed Jones, one book Jones of macroeconomics. So I did that book only. I never went on other books for the same concept.
Hmm.
So that was a strategy I followed. And coming to like people ask from me like how many cycles are enough for ISI. I think that is not a specific number, very specific number for that. Usually, for me, like because of the lack of time, I was only able to solve it two times. But it doesn't matter how much, how many cycles you do. It matters how you solve those questions.
Hmm. Got it. And
So, yeah,
till how many years you went in solving?
till how many years? So the I went till 2007.
Okay. Okay. So
Whenever
2007 to 2021.
21, yeah, almost 15.
Okay. 15 years. Okay. So do you think that there is actually some pattern that ISI follows, and 2005, 6, 7, 8 papers are relevant, or should the student focus from 15 onwards?
Yeah, the students should focus from like 2005 from 2006. They
Okay.
should start from that, because it happened that at my time, a question got repeated for intertemporal choice that was from 2008 paper.
Okay.
So yeah, so there is a pattern. Some topics are ISI favorites. So one is probability, one is linear
Yes.
algebra, and one is intertemporal choice. So they will definitely ask a question from these.
Hmm.
One question from PEB will definitely come from probability, and
Yes.
now in the latest years they are asking questions from linear algebra also, and intertemporal choice will definitely come in PEB. So these are the few concepts that will definitely come. But like I have seen like in the last 4 or 5 years, so uh, earlier what happens was like the questions were very of a very similar type and were from the few topics. And now they have widened the
Hmm.
concepts, and they were asking from other concepts. Or like for example, I have seen questions in the latest years of like the first and the second theorem of welfare, efficiency, equity. So those things, like people usually leave those things because they don't come. But
Hmm.
they have asked questions, they have really asked questions from it. Like for example, in 2019, they asked the question from welfare of 30 marks. So yeah,
Even
in that sense, so,
asymmetric information has started coming a lot now.
yeah, yeah. Well, and now they have started asking questions like theoretical questions
Hmm.
of like ASAD
Yes,
and
yes,
so
yes.
yeah,
BOP. I remember in one, I don't know
yeah.
which
In
year it was,
BOP,
but
I think it
Mundane
was
Fleming
in
has started coming.
2021. I think they have asked question from BOP, and in our year also, like they asked a question on macroeconomics
Yes,
that was
yes,
very different.
yes.
Uh,
I remember
So I
last year there was a very unexpected question. Like it was on solo model, but they had gone ahead and mixed regression with solo model. So good question. But students never focus a lot on theoretical aspect of solo model, what will be convergence theorem or how things will converge. But yes, they have broadened the syllabus in that aspect.
Yeah, the solo model is the favorite. Like it comes every year as
Yes.
well. So I would suggest that people should not leave any topic because they have
Hmm.
started asking questions from other concepts also, and should delve deeper in the topics that are ISI's favorites.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. Okay, so how about ISI PEB then? PEA is still MCQ and easy to do. What about PEB? How to focus on that?
Yeah, so what I did was at my time when I was preparing, so I started with PA and BSc past years. So they were of the same level.
Hmm.
So after attempting all those 15 years of that, so I came to like PEB papers. So I got to know before that like PEB is very tough or that. So I picked up like 2020 paper first. So I
Okay.
attempted that. And I think three or four questions are really easy out of nine questions. So it is a matter of choice. So you have to choose wisely
Hmm.
while attempting a PB paper. What students should do is like first give 10 minutes for reading the questions and like attempting the easiest question, like which they are finding it very easy. So they can do it in 15 to 20 minutes. So they will get like more time per question. So like they will not panic at that time. Because at my time, what happened was when I was giving the entrance, like it was a classroom of 40 people writing PEB. So at the end of 1.5 hour, like only I was writing that paper. Like people like left because
Left.
of frustration or like because what happened is like one or two questions are very difficult to crack at
Exactly.
this time span that was given. Like only we get half an hour for attempting a question.
Hmm.
So like some questions are really difficult to do that in that time span. So like people don't choose wisely and they got stuck in that.
Exactly. I think this is something which is very common. Uh, a lot of times, students would just leave the paper midway, and this is something which I
Yeah,
always tell people. That's the worst thing to do. You should at least give
attempt
your
it. Yeah.
100% till the end, even if you're not able to crack that.
Yeah, I have seen people getting selected even after attempting 2.5 question of
Hmm.
PEB. So
Because
it is not that, yeah,
you're relatively better than others.
yeah, it is not that you have to attempt all the four questions. Like
Hmm.
if you are able to solve like or 2.5 questions, then that is also good.
Got
And
it.
that depends on the relative marking, like what
Exactly.
others.
So usually, during our time, it used to be the case that whatever students would attempt in ISI, PEB part, sometimes in the interview, the professor would go ahead and ask questions from that only. Like, how did you attempt that question if you attempted in PEB? So is that the case anymore, or they will ask you completely fresh question in
Like
interview?
till my time, the interview pattern was very different for ISI Delhi and ISI Kolkata. So
Hmm.
in ISI Kolkata, they ask like normal questions, theoretical questions, and you have to just tell them the definitions or and yeah, they do that in ISI Kolkata. They like I have heard that they some at some year they gave just a question that came in PEB and
Hmm.
asked them to recall the approach. And but what happens in ISI Delhi is that they will give you a question that is shorter than a PEB one, and they will give you 10 minutes and the sheet
Okay.
to like solve that question. And
Hmm.
then you have to go to a panel, and they will just ask your introduction for like just 10 to 20 seconds, and they don't really care about it. So they will just ask you to present that on board. So you have to write that question solution, and they will like cross question, like they will add some questions also in the middle, like which approach you are doing, and like how will you approach this if that thing happens. So yeah, so the interview is fairly easy, and uh, just like the professors there in the interview panel are really supportive. So
Okay. This is, I think so, I've heard across students that the professors are supportive
yeah,
and the interview is
really supportive.
comparatively easier.
Yeah, but what happened last year was that they combined the interview of ISI Delhi and Kolkata, so it happened in ISI Delhi.
Okay. And then they kind of, based on your preference, give you if you
Yeah, it's
clear the cutoff.
based on the preference. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So, Gaurav, especially for maths, is there any book that you would like to suggest students that they can go ahead and follow?
Yeah, for maths, like ISI maths is of mainly of 11th and 12th, plus some additional topics that are probability they ask in detail, and linear algebra. So for linear algebra, I did a book of Enderley and D. Hacker.
Okay.
So it was a really nice book of linear algebra. And for probability, I did a course on MIT OpenCourseWare. And for rest of the topics, what I did was I followed JEE mains material for
Okay.
of 11 and 12,
Hmm.
and that was enough, I guess. Just don't go to JEE advanced, so they will ask you the questions of the level of JEE mains only. So I think that was enough, and then I just came to like solving past years. That really helped me out.
Got it. Got it. So, because when it comes to graduation, we follow Hammond or we follow AC Chiang. So, are those the books that students should be doing for ISI? Are those two books required?
Yeah, if you don't have a maths background, really strong maths background, then that is a good book to start with. But
Okay.
that is not like sufficient for you.
Hmm. So, you need to go ahead and practice a
Yeah.
bit more in depth to
Yeah,
understand the concept.
people like some people follow tomato also, but
Yes, ISI Tomato.
I think that is not required like for the questions that are asked at ISI.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, my personal experience also says the same. ISI Tomato, I find is a little below the level rather, and those kind of questions don't come at ISI.
Yeah, those type of questions won't come at ISI.
Exactly. Okay. So, one last thing, Gaurav, I would like to understand. So, what about time management? So, a student has their end sem exam also coming, and then they also have the ISI exam at the same time. They have to go to college every day. They have these attendance issues also. So, how did you manage all these things together, and how should a student manage all of these things together?
Yeah, at my time, COVID saved me.
Okay.
So, so till February, colleges were not open. So,
Okay.
like they suddenly opened in
Yes.
February. I planned it accordingly. The college will remain closed. I will get time to study. So, but that they suddenly opened the colleges in February. So, what I did was I maintained around 50% attendance
Okay.
in my last semester.
Okay.
And I think I did my graduation from Delhi University, so like the last semester was not heavy.
Hmm.
So last semester subjects were really easy, so they were doable in 2 or 3 days. So like I just studied 1 week for internals in the middle of the semester, and my ISI exam was on 8th of May, I remember.
Okay.
So my exam started on 11th. So I started studying for my semester exams on 9th. So
Okay.
I just fully focused on my entries,
And
and after that, I just focused on my semester exams. And I think the subjects are like the development economics, Indian economy, and comparative economic development. So these subjects
international.
are yeah. So these subjects are doable in 2 or 3 days. So
Hmm. Okay. So ideally the focus should be on entrance exam, right?
yeah,
Got it. And I think this makes sense also because uh, except Delhi University, no one is going to give you, admission on merit basis. It is going to be entrance
yes,
basis only. So
yeah, it
here
is going to be.
you just need to clear and then you need to get into a good institute for the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So Gaurav, any last words for the student before we end the session?
Like since 45 days are left, so usually what people think that ISI entrance is like very tough, and so they skip, like most of the people skip that entrance. So just don't
Exactly.
skip it, and just attempt it with your full confidence, and just in those 45 days just focus on the topics, revise them again and again. Just focus on the topics that are come every year at ISI.
Hmm.
So, and just revise your like past year questions, and like if you have already done the past years, then just focus only on the questions that you found difficult. So just engage with them and just read the topics again and again and again. And I think that would be enough. And just don't panic at the time of interest. So time management won't be an issue there because they only are 30 questions of PA and that are doable in 2 hours.
Hmm.
And for PET, just choose wisely first and give first 10 minutes in choosing and then attempt the easiest question and the second easiest one and the toughest at the last. So I think you will definitely crack it if you study hard these days and attempt hit the paper with full confidence.
Right. And I think so ISI has such a good return after you
Mhm.
get into ISI. The kind of packages that ISI offers is equivalent to getting an MBA degree, but with no money involved. You don't have to pay the
Yeah,
fees, rather you get the stipend.
yeah, we get this cycle. So
So I think it's a win-win situation once you're at ISI.
yes, we get a monthly stipend and we get a almost free accommodation
Exactly.
and placements are very good. Every year there are 100% placement because of the small batch size.
Hmm.
And but we are facing some difficulty this year, but I'm sure that very few people are left, so they will get placed by the end of the semester.
Right. And
Yeah,
I think
placement are good.
the average placement is good enough, right? I think it is approximately 18 lakhs. What's the average
Last year it
placement
was
is?
23 lakhs,
Okay.
and this year it will come down to around 15 because
Okay.
of the slowdown.
Got it. But it's a good start that students get.
Yeah, it's a good start. Like if you are coming to ISI, then you will easily get a package of like 30. Like last year, the lowest was 14.5. So
Right.
like everyone get above that. No, but this year I think it would be around 10.
Which is still good.
Yeah, which is still good. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So thank you so much, Gaurav, for your time today. And I hope that this session will be useful for this year's student who will be your junior. But by that time, you would have passed ISI. And I hope that they benefit from this interview.
Thank you, ma'am, and thank you so much for inviting me for this session.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you, Gaurav.
okay. Thank you so much, ma'am.